I feel very bad for you if you did not see this movie.
Welcome back to HIVEMIND Unlimited.
And welcome to another episode of our movie series, How Did It Age? Where we watch older movies and reevaluate them with modern context. We do this every single week on, no, we don't. I wish we did. I love it, and I'm sure you guys wish that as well.
I love movies.
It's every other Sunday.
Yeah, twice a month.
But on Patreon, we post a week ahead of time, so you guys can know which movie we're watching for the series, so you can rewatch it and then watch these with a little fresher memory of the movie.
Yeah, or watch it for the first time.
Today's movie is Inglourious Basterds, directed by Quentin Tarantino.
The big Q.
Please tell us more about this movie, Graydon.
This is a movie by Quentin Tarantino. It stars Brad Pitt, Christoph Waltz, Melanie Laurent, Michael Fassbender, Eli Roth, Diane Kruger, Daniel Bruhl, and Sylvester Groth, as well as some other fun cameos, one my favorite being Mike Myers.
And BJ Novak from The Office. This film is an alternative history retelling of a plot to assassinate high-ranking members of the German Nazi regime at a theater in France. It follows two converging assassination plots culminating in a historically inaccurate successful killing of Hitler and others carried out by American Nazi resistance group called the Bastards and a Jewish theater owner avenging the death of her family at the hands of Hans Landa.
Hans Landa.
Yeah, played by Christoph Waltz.
Yeah. Oh, he played it all right.
He played it more than all right. I think he played it fantastic.
Yeah.
And was rewarded handsomely, I might add, because he won Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars that year.
He did.
Continue. Sorry.
It wasn't just the Oscars that loved it, Riley. This movie's got an 8.4 on IMDb, an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 4.3 on letterboxd. And it made a whopping $321.5 million against the $70 million budget.
It was his most successful movie at the time, Tarantino's, yes. And then it was broken by Django Unchained.
Correct. And what he considered to be kind of his masterpiece. He worked on writing this movie from pretty much the day he finished Jackie Brown. Worked on it for a very, very long time. So much so that like he thought he could never contain it into a single movie. He had like over 12 hours of material and all these side plots. He was going to do like a mini series with it.
Yep.
Until he sat down with one of his French director buddies who was like, "You're the only reason I go to the cinema. So don't make me wait another 10 years. And then he was like, fuck, that's my homie. I got to do it for you.
Yeah, he dipped off for a second and made Kill Bill 1 and 2
yeah.
in the midst of writing this and then came back to it.
And the funny thing about going and doing Kill Bill 1 and 2 is it really changes the Shoshana character. Because as he initially started writing this, Shoshana's character was like badass, sniper, assassin, kind of had a list of officers she was crossing off with lipstick. But then the Kill Bill, the bride character, kind of took a lot of that, what he was going to do with Shoshana, but that allowed her to be like a little more normal. And I think that ends up working better.
I completely agree.
Leonardo DiCaprio was sought to be Hans Landa, which I think is hilarious because I don't think that works.
He maybe could have been Aldo Rain.
Maybe.
But he could not have been Hans Landa.
No, he ends up being kind of the not sophisticated, but like a sophisticated or like aristocratic brute in Django Unchained. And obviously Christoph Waltz is in that too. But yeah, I just don't see that working at all. More in casting, even more unbelievable. Quentin Tarantino wanted Adam Sandler to be Donnie Donowitz.
AKA the Bear Jew.
Yeah, which just would have been. For some reason, I picture him dressed like it's Uncut Gems, like he's going out in Cartier buffs and hitting Nazis.
Right. I didn't know about that until we sat down to do this about the Adam Sandler. That makes my recast of that character much funnier. So you'll have to wait for that when we get to categories.
Okay, good. I can't wait. This is Quentin Tarantino's kind of homage to spaghetti westerns and like the idealized like American frontiersman taking on the bad guys. There's a lot of music used in this by Ennio Morricone, something like that. It's an Italian composer who made a bunch of music for spaghetti westerns. If you don't know what spaghetti westerns were, they were Italian kind of B movies in like the 50s and 60s that were westerns, but they were like Italian dudes playing cowboys and stuff. It was like glorifying the frontier of American cinema.
If you've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that's where Leonardo DiCaprio's character goes over there and does those spaghetti westerns.
Yeah. Again, this is classic Tarantino. It's like a movie about movies. This is basically a movie about cinema taking down the Third Reich.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, which is really cool. There's a lot of nods to like real films and stuff in this. Michael Fassbender's character, who's a part of the Bastards, he's like the British commando that gets hired by Mike Myers. In the tavern scene, it's like an SS member or one of the big ranking German officers, the one who finds them out, hears the accent of Fassbender and comes over and asks him to explain it. And he says, I lived outside of a small village in Pitzpalu. If you've ever seen the white hell of Pitzpalu, you've seen me and my brothers skiing down the slopes. That's a real movie by G.W. Pabst. It was a German director who's like mentioned in this movie several times. During that scene, Hammersmark has the G.W. Pabst card on her head. She's playing that game, and the officer Hellstrom theoretically is the one who wrote that after having the conversation of White Hell of Pitzpalu. It's also a G.W. Pabst movie on the marquee of the cinema. And then when you first get to France in the movie, there's like a big bulletin board for that movie. So there's just classic Tarantino little referential Hollywood shit in there, which is fun for me and you, of course, the viewer at home.
Let me say one really dumb fact about the movie.
Please.
The reason it's spelled Bastards that way with an E is because Tarantino said he wanted to put a little Basquiat-esque touch on the title.
He said something about an artistic flourish.
Yeah, but a Basquiat-esque touch.
Yeah. Basquiat's constantly misspelling in the paintings.
Yeah, he is, but it's just very like how this movie doesn't feel. I don't know. Maybe
he's weird, man.
I don't know.
He's the weirdest guy of all time. As he was writing this, he like always says he's like listening to music while he's writing to keep him distracted. And his favorite song during writing this was "I'm Yours" by Jason Mraz. So that's just ridiculous.
Now you done me, and you know that I felt it. That is awesome because it has there's no you would never get that from this movie.
No.
When I first read the fact, I was like, is that in the movie? I was like, no way. Right. That's crazy.
And don't think I forgot about our guy Raj. He blew this sucker out of the water, 4 stars, and said to the hell with the history books. And when asked about it, he said, I had hardly knew what the hell had happened to me. The answer is the best film. This is him talking about while he was at Cannes. Someone asked him, like, what do you think about that movie? And he said, I don't even know what happened to me, which is great. And he said he immediately rewatched it. He absolutely loved it. There's his article about it's really beautiful. And he goes on and on about it. It is great. I can't help but agree with Raj. Screw the history books. This is better. And Quentin Tarantino, when asked about it being like a revisionist history thing, he's like, everything that happens in the movie is real. It's just I've inserted my characters into the timeline of World War II, and they ended the war that they did. Everything else is true, but if my characters would have been in the war, this is what would have happened. And I was like, oh.
Very Mark Wahlberg-esque.
If I would have been there, this is how.
If I was on the plane, it would have gone down different.
Yeah.
I do kind of want him to do a 9/11 movie now.
Oh, that'd be sick, where they steal the plane and they take it to like Bermuda and land it, and they're like...
And then they go through the Bermuda Triangle, and they end up in a different dimension, and somehow it's still a Western.
Dude.
Speaking of partying, let's get into the best lines. It's a cocaine joke.
Oh, yes. All right. Well, first off, Riley, have you seen this movie before?
I had seen it once, and I kind of forgot all about it.
Yeah.
And so it felt like a first watch to me, although it was not.
Yeah, the gratuitous violence was really making you perk up, which was fun to watch for me.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, I forgot that they're really blasting heads the whole time.
Yeah, I did forget about that.
I love it, man. I love how much killing there is.
It's the scalping. I think that gets me.
That's one of Quentin Tarantino's 2 cameos in the movie, as he's the first guy you see getting scalped.
He had to, of course, he wanted to get scalped.
He always puts himself in it. And then he's another cameo during the Nation's Pride movie when the American goes, we got to destroy that tower. That's him saying it.
Oh, no way.
Which is fun. And Eli Roth, the Bear Jew, directed that movie. And that movie needed 300 extras.
Oh, so he directed the movie within the movie.
Yeah.
He didn't direct the original all the way back in World War II, which totally existed?
I don't think so.
Wow. So you're saying the war didn't exist at all? I mean, I've heard some pretty crazy takes, but you heard it here first, Graydon said World War II didn't even happen.
I was there.
Speaking of partying, let's get into the best lines.
All right, man. What do you got for me?
Oh, basically nothing. Gorlomi.
Yeah.
That part almost ruined the movie for me. Well, it's just that Brad Pitt's not even trying to sound Italian, and neither are the other guys.
No.
And I thought that was, I mean, they do this. They do the You know, they're like, oh yeah, we're Italian, but they don't even do accents. It's like kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I know that Christoph Waltz character has already figured them out.
Yeah.
He has the napkin with him. He knows what's going on with Fraulein Hammersmark. But I don't know if I'm saying anything right in this whole video. But yeah, I know that it's already figured out, and so it doesn't matter if they're convincing. But at the same time, I wanted them to try to be convincing.
Yeah, apparently in the original script, they were to speak some more Italian, like almost convincingly. But then they literally got a kick out of Brad Pitt saying arrivederci.
Yeah.
So they were just like, fuck it. You guys can't do this at all. Just be like bumbling idiots for this.
Yeah.
Which is great.
He's just like, gorlomi. That's how you pronounce it. Gorlomi. And he does this funny thing with his face the whole time, Brad Pitt. He has almost like he's trying to do an underbite or something. And he's like, yeah, I'm a war general.
Yeah, he's from Tennessee and he's a bootlegger.
He's from Maynardsville, Tennessee.
Absolutely.
That's how they do it down there. I just basically I have kind of vignettes about lines.
Yeah.
You can get into the specific lines, but I just said the Christoph Waltz line about rats at the beginning was very I saw that in a new light this time where he's talking about rats, why do we hate them? We kind of hate them for no reason. Yes, you could point to the plague and all of these things.
Yeah.
It kind of it's a misguided, false metaphor, the likes of which we're kind of accustomed to nowadays, ironically.
Sure.
I think that is where a lot of the news media and the way that people talk about politics and stuff, people use really bad analogies and false metaphors all the time. But also, he's presenting propaganda in a way that foreshadows his kind of flimsy, non-ideological view on all of it. You could tell right there that he would fold. Yeah. In my mind, he's not I believe everything that the Führer, Hitler, is saying and the Nazi regime believes. It's more let me try to reason with you and let you know, there's no reason for any of this, but we just have to do it. Yeah, there's in scenes, I'll touch a little more about how I agree with that point. But for now, I'll go into more of my favorite Aldo Rain lines. Yeah, totally. Buongiorno, which, is right there in that scene you were referencing. Mm-hmm. I love that he's so dumb that when he's addressing the bastards, he's like, when you join my group, you take out a debit. You owe me a debit. And he's saying that instead of debt, which is just funny. Yeah, he's like, debit, 100 Nazi scalps. Yeah, and you will get, he says, and y'all will get me 100 Nazi scalps taken from the heads of 100 dead Nazis, or you will die trying, which is just so redundant. You'll get me 100 Nazi scalps taken from 100 dead Nazis, or you will die trying. Yeah, I absolutely love it. It's great. A sneaky line that I didn't remember from other watches that I loved this time is when Hammersmark has the bullet in her leg and they take her to the vet, and Brad Pitt does the finger in the leg thing to interrogate her or whatever. And then he goes, doggy doc gonna dig that slug out of your gam. Said doggy doc here's gonna dig that slug out of your gam. I was like, what the hell? We're gonna pop a cast on you and you're gonna say you got in a hiking accident. Yeah. What did he say? He's like you French people like hiking? Skiing or whatever. Yeah, something. That's another Pitt's Palu nod there too, because they're mountain climbing in that movie, and that's how she says she broke her leg. Yeah. Just nice little touch there. I love the ending line from Aldo where he shoots Landa's partner, and Landa's like, I bargained for that man's life. They'll shoot you for this. And he goes, more like chewed out. I've been chewed out before. Yeah. It's I'm not going to get shot. I'm going to probably get chewed out, and I've been chewed out before. It's not that bad. Yeah. He's a fantastic character. He is this strange kind of, Tarantino has this in movies where one character is a little outlandish, almost takes it off the rails, and it doesn't quite go off the rails. Mm-hmm. And that's the most electric character. It's when you talk about this movie with people, everybody's going to talk about Christoph Waltz being fantastic in it, but they're going to quote Aldo Rain. Yeah. They're going to be like, we're killing Nazis. Yeah, or if you ever want to eat a sauerkraut sandwich again, you got to show me here on this map where they are. You got to tell me how many there are, and you're going to tell me what kind of artillery they're carrying with. I think he says sandwich. Yeah, I don't even think he says sandwich. He goes, if you want to eat a sauerkraut sandwich again. And then I love him referring to his own co-soldier. He goes, that up there's Hugo Stiglitz. Ever heard of him? And the German guy's like, everybody in the German army is
Hugo Stieglitz. He says it like right. Just another great Rain mispronunciation. Last line I have there from him is he says it to several Nazi soldiers when they are done killing and scalping everyone. He says, I imagine when you go home, you're going to take off that handsome looking SS uniform of yours, ain't you? And that's what I thought. Now I can't abide. And in the final scene, it's great because he goes to BJ Novak's character and he goes, can you abide by that? And he goes, I cannot abide. And then they go in to carve the swastikas on their forehead, which is an awesome touch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's brutal. But I mean, yeah, the king of the show, king of the rodeo here is really Christoph Waltz.
Of course.
And that's like a lot of his scenes are so lengthy and every scene he's in is pretty much like an interrogation. He's this master detective. And I think in scenes I'll be able to talk more about like the subtleties of just that character that make him so wonderful, but he does have some like unbelievably delivered lines.
Yeah, I was going to say he's kind of like a stage play actor to me.
Yeah.
It's very like long monologues and every single line is delivered perfectly. It's like hard to pick out little lines from him throughout the movie because every scene is like the full thing is perfect.
Yeah.
He has so much physical comedy with the way he delivers things. He's always like fidgeting, getting something out, about to write something, and he's like, now I blah blah blah. It's a very clever and just, you know, he's very, very like an actor's actor.
Yeah.
You know,
I love that Tarantino made him. He was the only one that practiced the lines with Waltz. He wouldn't let anybody else practice with him so that when they went to shoot, even they were surprised by like what he'd say or to like try and capture like real fear. It's a great bit of effort put in there. But I maybe my favorite from him at the end where he guesses that the operation, whatever, Kino is done by the OSS. And he goes, ooh, that's a bingo. And he goes, is that the expression? It's just bingo. He's like, yeah, it's creepy how charming and like articulated he is. I love that he's so cultured that he makes Shoshana like wait for the cream on her pastry.
the strudel,
Yeah, on the strudel that like he knows to be great. And he's like, nope, you can only have it proper.
You feel a lot of fear in that scene. I know that we're not in scenes yet.
Yeah.
But I felt so much fear, and I did not remember that scene ends with him leaving and her crying.
Yeah.
And I was like so glad that happened in like the release of it because she is holding herself together, but like she is seeing the face of death.
Right.
And like, yes, it's a funny scene. It's that got like, you know, you can hear all the sounds of like the forks on the plates and stuff. All those things are there, but it's just, there's so much tension because like, one, you feel like he's going to recognize her.
He does.
I mean, he does.
Oh, he knows exactly who she is.
I know, but I'm saying like you feel like that's going to be revealed in that moment.
Right. And when he says, I had something else to say.
Must not be that important.
Must not be that important.
Yeah.
That was him ready to confront her. And
Right.
then he puts his cigarette out. Let me get my last line out and we'll just get into scenes.
I know what you're going to say. I understand. I know what the like the angle is. Like he always had a plan.
Yeah, and he always has like these tools in all of his scenes.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't smoke a pipe. It's why he has a ridiculous pipe.
Yeah.
It's because he knows that the farmer smokes a pipe. He doesn't even hit that cigarette once. He just gives her a cigarette. Everything's a little tool of the interaction.
Yeah.
And when he decides not to confront her on it, he just puts it out in the strudel and walks away, like for a later date or whatever. It's great. I love his like a beginning line once he gets into the French guy's house. This being a dairy farm, I'd like to have some milk. And while he does that, he grabs the one daughter like this. As she's walking by, and that is to like check her pulse. Apparently, he grabs her by the wrist to see how nervous she is.
Oh.
And he holds her for a second, being like, could you get me a glass of milk? And then like lets her go. There are like all these like crazy, creepy little hidden things with Hans that he just knows everything that's up. Like you couldn't sneak by him.
Yeah.
And Hammersmark even says like Nazis can't speak Italian. Like the Germans are so bad with Italian, and he just like rips fluent Italian in front of him. It's great. Outside of our two main big leads here, I do love the Donnie Donowitz when he fucking bashes the sergeant's brain in. Teddy fucking Williams, Fenway Park's going crazy. They're on their feet. He hit it over the fence. Teddy Williams. He's just like losing his mind, like with like bloodlust.
There's a few things that I love about that. One, it is so much more over the top than any performance in the movie, where it feels like it shouldn't even exist in this movie.
Right.
It is like such an exasperated thing. And it's just, you don't expect it to, because you think he is like this feared character, and then you're like, oh, he's just a clown.
He's like a New York scumbag who loves baseball, or Boston guy.
And then the second thing about it is that Ted Williams was in the military before he played baseball, and so was like a very respected by the troops as like their baseball player. So that is kind of funny that he's like fighting in World War II and being like Teddy fucking Williams. Ted Williams also, just fun fact really quick, 2030, whatever the really good vision is, and was studied by science because they thought he had the best vision on the planet. That's why he was so good at baseball. So this is just awesome. I had a Ted Williams poster above my bed growing up.
One, there's a deleted scene, because this movie is obviously 2.5 hours long. I think the director's cut is like 3:15 or something. There's a deleted whole scene about Eli Roth's character, Donnie Donowitz's bat origin, where he's in New York and he goes to like a sporting store or something, and he's like, which is the heaviest bat in here? And he goes and buys the heaviest bat, and then takes it around the street and has people sign it with the names of their loved ones that are over in Europe.
Oh,
so when you see him hold it up to his head, it has all those signatures on it. Yeah. And you think, you're like, oh, maybe that's like his fellow soldiers or the people he's killed or something, but it's actually supposed to be signatures of the people on the streets of New York or Boston or something, like writing their family member's name on it.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty interesting. I would love to.
So it's like the names of Jewish people. Yeah. Is that the idea? Yeah, kind of like people who have, that's amazing.
Yeah. I would love to see that scene if they even shot it or whatever. I just know that was like in the original script. Mike Myers has an amazing cameo. That scene we'll get to. Winston Churchill is just like slouched over in the corner, like,
at the piano, right?
What'd you say? He says like two things. That actor was retired too. I think it's Rod Taylor. Tarantino brought him out of retirement to be a fat, schlubby Churchill, which is just great. Mike Myers like demanded to be in this movie, and when Fassbender's in there, he's like, "Fancy a drink, old boy?" And they're like doing like the prim and proper, posh, old school English talk. Fassbender asks him, "General, can I get you one too?" And he goes, "Whiskey straight. No junk in it." I love that. Great. Fassbender has a couple of the best lines, I think, in the movie, in the tavern scene, where they get like the 33-year-old whiskey or whatever, and they get into the Mexican standoff with the gun nut stuff and the gun nut stuff and more gun nut stuff. He first says, "Well, if this is it, old boy, I hope you don't mind if I go out speaking the kings."
Oh, that is so good.
Just a bat. Like he drops the German accent, goes right into his posh English accent, lights a cigarette. "Hope you don't mind I go out speaking the kings." That's great. And then he says, "I'm going to have this drink because there's a special place in hell for people who waste good scotch." Another great, there's like some great like old English drinking lines in this that I really appreciate, and the way they order whiskeys the whole time. Very funny. And finally, just for another random line, when Shoshana's picture is up on the screen and like the place is going up, she says, "My name is Shoshana Dreyfus, and this is the face of Jewish vengeance." And then it's like, cackling in the smoke as they all die. That's a pretty powerful line.
Oh, it is crazy. I forgot about how like powerful and scary it is. How I think this is something that I'll get into in scenes, but it's just quick, so I'll mention it. It struck me this time watching it that the lead actor in both, reels 3 and 4 are both dead upstairs.
Yeah.
No one on screen, and like the main characters on screen are all dead. Yeah. Like it's very weird that it cuts from this super racist Nazi movie starring this hero who's killed a bunch of people. He's dead upstairs. And so is the woman who then puts her own film on there while her boyfriend, her lover, like lights the place up.
We Shoshana.
Yeah. Oh, it is powerful. It's wild. Yeah.
Let's get into dissecting the sick, twisted, and masterful mind of Quentin Tarantino on this episode of How Did It Age?
Now, I often find with Tarantino,
your character sucks. What was that?
I often find with Taran Pampino that a lot of these movies are just so much blood and guts, and is it really worth it when you get past that? The dialogue sucks dick.
Oh,
that's my movie.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
That's if it sucked. That's if our channel sucked.
But just kidding. The opening scene of this is like one of the best scenes in movie history. That's That's it because our channel. That's because we're good. That's why I'm saying
That's why you're saying
But
that.
I said it in that voice because everyone has ever said that.
Yeah.
Every movie YouTube person ever is like, today we're gonna do a deep dive on the opening scene of Inglourious Basterds.
Chapter 1, as it were, because as you know, of course, because we both are super big cinephiles, which feels like something bad, but it's not. When you say cinephile, it's fine. It means you like movies, which is totally fine. You can fuck a movie if you want. But yeah, it's split into 5 chapters, and it's awesome. The way they converge together too. I mean, it is a beautiful piece of cinema.
Yes.
For somebody that honestly, I have my fair share of criticisms of Quentin Tarantino's other work, but not this one, man.
No.
I mean, wow, it's bulletproof.
It's a goddamn masterpiece. We get to see the early onset of the genius of Hans Landa as the Jew hunter. So he is happily been called by the people of France and the rest of Europe. I mentioned in lines that he doesn't really smoke a pipe. That is why they gave him like the Sherlock Holmes like pipe. It's just because he knows the other farmer does it. He's doing it to make him comfortable.
It looks like Looney Tunes.
Yeah, and he doesn't even want milk. He says the milk thing so he can grab the daughter's hand, which is like all just great. But my favorite like little detail of that is like in his nature to be such a bureaucrat, he like busts out like of his satchel, like the paper, and he uses a dip pen, and he's like, everything's really tightly organized. They show him checking the family members and crossing off names, and like this like idea, or like anytime it's shown in movies, like the bureaucracy of war, I am always really fascinated with or find like really cool in film, especially in like the Third Reich or the Nazi regime or like any of the Axis powers. When you see like the paperwork and the like formality that was behind such crazy primal evil, that's always like adds a whole nother dimension to it. And like,
you often see that like the machismo of war or the violent tendencies of war, you see it being like this indiscriminate thing. And then when you see it being like calculated and you get somebody who is like well-spoken and educated, just talking about it very matter-of-factly and being clever and tricky, it is like, whoa, oh yeah, there were people like this.
Yeah, the name of the movie that came out just last year about the Holocaust is escaping me now, but it's like about the guy who designed not Dachau, but like one of the camps. And you know, the first hour of that movie is them going through blueprints and like talking about where the incinerator is at and like how the gas comes in. And you never actually see really inside of the camps, but that like bureaucracy, or as a philosopher after the war said, like the banality of evil is like a lot of these guys weren't like sick, bloodlusty people. They were like in any other time or place, they would have just been like a really good bureaucrat, but they just used their skills and power to like progress this like awful, evil killing machine.
That is like a lot of big companies, you know, like you're wearing a West Coast Customs, you know, thing. And I like was thinking about the with car companies, people who love cars. It's like you get to see like shows like that will show you like people being like, we're going to trick it out with rims. This is so cool, whatever. There are thousands and thousands of people who are just typing car into Excel spreadsheet every single day and working at those companies. And like, it's very interesting that like the passion is like kind of reduced to a few. And then everything else becomes very like boring and mundane. Obviously car companies don't compare to the evil.
They're doing genocide
of Nazi Germany. I'm saying
genocide
like,
of gasoline.
I'm just saying like a big a big company, a big corporation. A lot of the outskirts of all of that is very boring.
It's crazy, but I love that he's so detail oriented that he's like with his little dip pen and his big fucking pipe. It's so ridiculous. But yeah, chapter 1 is like, if you want to go watch real cinema people break that down, there are videos out there that are as long as this fucking movie breaking down chapter 1. It's perfect. It's great. The running away, him aiming and saying whatever, c'est la vie, Shoshana.
Goodbye, Shoshana.
Yeah. And then apparently we were thrown off by the subtitles we had because we watched this illegally downloaded. Fuck you. It's a Weinstein movie. I ain't paying for shit.
Yeah, fuck you, Weinstein.
Take that, Miramax. Mirasax, more like it. So yeah, we stole it and we had like shitty subtitles, and a lot of the German wasn't in subtitles. Like it wouldn't pop up subtitles, but apparently he has a conversation with his driver, and the driver's like upset why he doesn't kill Shoshana, like why he doesn't take the shot. And he's like, letting the enemy escape and putting a bullet in the back of a 15-year-old girl, I would say, aren't exactly the same things. Plus, she's most likely going to die in those woods or be picked up by a German soldier. Or she immigrates to America, moves to New York, and gets elected as the next president. Like, says some ridiculous thing like that. So, and then obviously ends up meeting her later on. And that is my favorite scene.
Oh, is
when they meet again.
Oh yeah, the thing with the strudel.
Yeah, that absolutely like fucks me up.
I was saying the tension of that scene was overwhelming. I like felt it in my bones. I was like, oh my God.
I mean, the second he orders her a milk, and then she knows for sure. She's obviously still scared because she'll never forget the guy who killed her whole family.
Right.
But he sits, orders himself something, and she's like about to order something, and he goes, "For mademoiselle, a glass of milk."
Yeah, and in Tarantino movies tend to do a thing that I generally don't like, which is if a character meets another character at some other point in life where they look different or whatever, they will like show the time they met before.
Sure.
As just a flash. And I don't love that in Tarantino movies. He kind of he doesn't do that as much in this movie. There are moments like Goodbye Shoshana plays at that moment, but at the same time, it doesn't like overdo that. It lets it be like, the viewer knows what's happening in that scene, and then you just feel it the whole time, and then she breaks down in tears, and it is like,
like she's been like holding her breath the whole time.
It is an unbelievable scene, probably my favorite scene in the movie as well, if other than like the pure madness of the actual theater burning down.
Yeah, that's crazy. And the tavern scene also has great tension. The way that drags out, and you're trying to like once he holds up the three fingers wrong, you see it in the other guy's face, in the German guy's face, whether you even know that that's the wrong thing or not. You see that he like,
you almost hear checkmate.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's kind of like how I go, checkmate. Like he's fucked,
And then the like willingness of Fassbender's character to die, or the recognition of that. Same with Stiglitz. Like that whole shit's great, but that tension of the diner scene, her being like under a false name, out of country, hiding out. You can tell she's already like, she's ignoring Friedrich Zoiller's like pursuit of her.
Mm-hmm.
And then she gets like swept into the highest of highs of the Nazi regime. She's sitting across from Joseph Goebbels, like having lunch in like this fine diner. She is like so tense and buttoned up that when she takes the bite of that strudel, you can almost tell she likes it. You almost see like a sense of surprise on her face, but she doesn't express that it's good. She's like,
right.
And then like takes another bite. And the same with like the champagne. When she sips the champagne, you see her like bottling in the back of her mind. Part of her wants to like enjoy being at a nice restaurant in a classy setting, having nice things, which is something she probably hasn't been able to do because she's been tucked away, secret boyfriend, fake name, all this shit. And now she's being fed the best strudel in Paris. And she's like, fuck, I don't want to say it's good. This guy killed my family.
Yeah.
That all reads so well through her. Like she does such a good job of that. It's incredible.
Yeah. And I will say the ups and downs of her character, because you really wonder, like, why is she even entertaining this? Why does she want to have it there? She should say, this is how many we see. We seat 100.
Yeah.
All those. And then you realize that it's all, and I think there is push and pull there. I think sometimes she's planning that. Sometimes she's like, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Like there are, I think that the only reason she gets in the car to go there is because she thinks she's being like, kind of like, they're going to kill her if she doesn't go.
Yeah.
And it ends up being more like it was supposed to be an invitation, which is whatever. But at the same time, like you see that push and pull with her, and then you see that she has this grand plan.
Yeah.
The same thing happens in that tavern scene for me where like you think it's going to go one way. Then you're kind of like, oh, wait, no, it's not going to go that way.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, it's going to go this way. Oh, no, it's going to go this way. It like does do that thing. Like you don't know exactly what's going to happen in the tavern all the way. You don't know. You know that Aldo Rain and them are going there.
Right.
You think maybe it just gets sprayed up.
Yeah, you don't think Fassbender and Stiglitz are gonna die like that. Like I was like, fuck, those are like two of our main characters, and also the Bastards up until that point have seemed so invincible.
Yep.
And seemed like capable of, killing the whole army.
Right.
That the fact that they get found out and like put in this dumb position where like they're fucked is that's like a big jarring surprise.
And I think Tarantino does a good job of also displaying that this wasn't like some nitwit idiot like opposition that they were
Right.
facing. Like
Yeah.
Nazi Germany had like smart evil people.
Yeah.
That's like these people were clever and could
Yeah.
figure it out, and it was a real like actual battle and a fight for power to try to like overthrow them. And it wasn't just like, oh, these fucking morons don't know. And he does that with Hans Landa, and then he does that with some of the guys in the tavern who call out his accent. All those things are like, you feel that where you're like, oh, he's like showing these weren't fucking morons.
Yeah, even with Zoller or whatever, Frederick Zoller, like they make a movie about him because he killed 300 people.
Right.
Solo. Like they were a successful bunch. Thank God for the Russians. Other scenes that I absolutely love. I love the initial bastard scene, like just the spreading out of everyone, like the balance of that shot. Like you have a guy here, a guy here. Everybody's kind of like posted on their own little perch. Like you get the scalping Quentin Tarantino, which is awesome. Scene, and then it's Brad Pitt talking to the sergeant, and then whatever in the looming corridor is Donnie Donowitz or the Bear Jew. But everyone's posted up, and you get the Hugo Stiglitz text, and you get like all these little things, the introductions and the spacing of everyone there. I've just always thought that scene was so cool.
Yeah.
And it like gets so gross and gratuitous when he bashes his head in. You almost, Tarantino said this in an interview. He's like, you almost feel bad for the German soldier.
Right.
Because he like taps him. And he's like, in any other situation, medals of bravery in war are like, you know, that's a brave person who like fought for country. And then he just gets his head bashed in, and you're almost like, for a moment, you're like, oh, maybe they're going a little too far. Maybe they shouldn't do that.
Right. But they deserved it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Stiglitz's rampage, the backstory there that's narrated by Samuel L. Jackson, I absolutely love. That's like my favorite kind of Tarantino exposition is like, Hugo Stiglitz, here's where the Germans know him.
Yeah.
He was enlisted in the German army and killed 13 like of his own like officers. And then the pillow over the face, stabbing through the pillow. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
No.
And then the like, once the bastards has heard about his escapades, they had to recruit him. And then like them busting into his prison cell, the blood and the way the lighting's done in there, and like the pink mist, if you will. And Stiglitz like doesn't flinch and is like, and Aldo Rain's like, big fans of your work. You want to come with us? And he's like, yes.
Yeah.
And the guy who plays Stiglitz, I have his name down in context, but I'm just going to speak for the sake of the video, is a German actor and hates Nazis, which is crazy that Germans, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I thought they still liked him. But he swore that he would never don a Nazi uniform for his whole career. And Tarantino convinced him that anytime he's in a uniform, he'll kill a Nazi in that scene. And so every scene he's undercover or whatever, like when they stop the car
Yeah.
and they explain that, they're like, oh, when Hans is like, they often wear German uniforms to like, you know, sneak up or ambush German soldiers. And then
They pepper that car.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a cool little Easter egg in that scene. Stiglitz's uniform fits perfect because it's his old uniform. And the other guys' uniforms are like baggy or undersized.
Because they stole them, yeah.
They stole them, but
Yeah.
Stiglitz's is like clean and on, and he's in the center doing the killing. And then the tavern scene, obviously, he gets to shoot a guy in the nuts. And he says, I'm a regular Frederick Zoller at this distance, which I love that line too.
Yeah. Yeah, they made this with a German movie house or whatever studio.
Yeah.
It was like a German studio collabing with an American
Yep.
studio to make this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of the special effects were done in Germany, and they shot it over there, and a lot of like the handoffs of special effects and film and stuff was done just like out of distance and rushed. Like this is like a super rushed movie. I think they shot this in like less than a year.
They filmed it in 2008 and it
Yeah.
came out in 2009.
Yeah, and it competed for whatever Palme d'Or in 2009. That was like the whole goal, which is just crazy. That
Yeah.
you shot this fucking movie in a year.
Yeah, and it did have a delayed theatrical release as a result. It was like a couple months
Yeah.
afterwards it went into theaters.
Yeah, because I'm sure Tarantino was just berating his editor or something.
I don't know what he would berate him about. It's a pretty perfect movie.
Well, yeah, but he just kind of classically always had that relationship with his editor until they
Yeah.
died. And then Hateful Eight and everything since has been over 3 hours.
I was gonna say you brought up a scene in it, and like I basically said I just wrote down, like, I have criticized Quentin Tarantino movies in the past for like telling things in an order that's not as fun as a viewer. It's like maybe more interesting, but it like will try to take converging aspects and tell them out of order and then make them come together. This one, I don't have that problem at all. I feel like it's told in the perfect order. It like every piece fits together. Every little plot is just as exciting as the other ones. My only scene that I find any weakness in is the Mike Myers scene. It's
really?
Like, yeah, I don't love that scene, and I don't love Mike Myers in this movie.
Oh, see, I just love that. I might not like it at first because it is like a little awkward. Fassbender walks into this big room that is just General Mike Myers and Winston Churchill slouched at a
who
piano.
They barely even, he's almost like, they don't even acknowledge that he's there. Yeah.
But he's just like an old fat drunk and they treat him like that.
He's the prime minister.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah.
And it does have like this kind of like weird vacant, like it's almost like artistic in the way it's like framed or whatever. But I think as that dialogue gets rolling, the quippiness of Myers and Fassbender's back and forth is so good. And you get those like, I feel like you get like a fast track or all the Britishisms that you'd get in like if Tarantino was British and made a Inglourious Basterds about, you know, the British army going in and doing a mission to kill Hitler, you'd have all this like quippy 40s old chap drinking scotch language, and that's like all condensed into that one scene, and I really love that and like appreciate it.
Yeah, I would say like that scene to me is like a 6 or a 7 out of 10 in a movie that is like most scenes are like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10.
The one that I don't really love, if we're talking about scenes that we don't like, I don't like Zoller's like introduction to Shoshana, how they just have like movie banter for a back and forth.
I like it because it feels very much like
he's trying to flirt. Yeah.
He's trying to flirt, and you know that she is in hiding,
right,
and is Jewish and is being flirted with by a literal Nazi soldier.
I like the following cafe scene and stuff, where how you find out he's like famous or infamous rather. But the initial movie banter to me is just a little self-serving Tarantino stuff. Because he's like, I've always liked this guy more than Chaplin, but this guy could never make a movie as good as The Kid or something. Like he's doing like very specific movie kind of dialogue shit.
I don't even like pay attention to the specifics. It's more about like you see her trying to keep up appearances and then deflate, like can't do it anymore.
She's
and
like,
is
I'll
like,
finish it tomorrow.
It's like, get out of here. Like I'm not gonna put up with this.
Yeah.
I know I'm trying to be like cordial so I don't get in trouble, but like I literally can't deal with you trying to flirt with me right now.
The Italian mockery at the premiere is awesome. We've already talked about it, but that is
gorlomi.
I forgot they did this.
Oh, that is insane.
That is crazy.
Yeah, they might as well have been like a gabagool.
I love one little director's note I picked up in research for this, as Shoshana's like getting dressed in her red dress and like upstairs in the cinema. Great scene, great fit, really got that fit off. She is now in control. She has all the power. She has Goring and Boring and Soring and Hitler all prancing into the building.
She's the lady in red.
She's the lady in red.
And she's wearing a funeral veil.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get the bird's eye camera shot that follows her out of the room, like over the walls and the door, and follows her out onto the balcony, and then it kind of like backs out. The only other time we get that shot is like as Hans knows they're below him at the French farmhouse. We get that shot of him like looking down as Shoshana like runs out, because he has all the power at that point because he knows where the family and the hiding is.
Yeah.
I think that's just a cool like homage. It's like, oh, the tables have turned. It's almost as if you're like playing her in a video game or something. It's like she's in control of everything that's about to go down.
Yeah.
I think that's a great little scene. Yeah, that's like one of the coolest shots in this whole movie.
It's also the bird's nest.
Right.
The thing they were talking about how the bird's nest is advantageous to a soldier because they have a 360 view and they're at a different whatever. It's always someone above looking down. They have the power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick. It's movie's shot really cool. There is like one other, the Dutch angle or that like side angle when you see someone and it's like the dramatic looking up at them. You get that when the Donnie Donowitz comes out for the bat. Yeah. And that's like the homage to spaghetti westerns, because that's where like that angle was made famous. Like the villain would come in and be like, ring! Yeah. Or the hero pops in, it's like, ring! Yeah. And then you get that again when Hans like puts the shoe on Hammer's mark. It like, to her and him, and she's like, what now, Colonel? And then he chokes her out. Christoph Waltz didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So you know who did?
Who?
Quentin Tarantino strangled her for his own movie. Those are his hands.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
like,
could totally see Christoph Waltz being like, that I will not do.
yeah. And
That
Quentin's
I
like, I'll do it.
will." He goes, oh, wait, did somebody say that nobody wants to strangle? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do the strangling.
Harvey Weinstein slapped him on the ass and said, go get him, Q.
Jesus.
Sorry.
Christ.
Yeah. He got pressed for that. And he said, I guess I'll never do that again. Like in an interview. And I was like, yeah, probably shouldn't have done it in the first place. The last scene, one of the last scenes of the movie, really, I just love I'm surprised by it every time I see it. Hans just like, I'm not saying I'm going to kill all my superior officers and end the war tonight, but let's have a discussion.
Yeah.
He's just like so willing to throw in the towel, and then his negotiation of property in Nantucket and like all of this, you think he's just outsmarted everyone, and he falls victim to his own like superiority where he assumes that these fucking beast alpha rangers that have just been scalping people are like gonna go along with his plan.
He also makes a deal with them by offering them something that is already going to happen. He's already slipped dynamite under Goebbels' chair before he left.
But he could have called. That's the whole point.
Well, yeah, but still at the same time, why would it be? I don't know. I'm just kind of like, it feels to me like he had signed that deal before he made it with them.
Kind of. I feel like he really thought both those plots aren't aware of each other's. So like he doesn't understand that the theater's locked. And I think he thinks with one phone call, he can get all the superior officers out of there.
Right. Yeah.
And that only a couple Germans might die or whatever. Big whoop. Like he even says, you're not
Yeah,
going
he's
to
not
get
gonna get the
Himmler,
four,
Boring,
yeah.
Goebbels, and Hitler.
Yeah.
So I think he does think he still has the power, but he's planted that there almost as assurance that like Hitler himself will die, because he knows they're not going to get that close to him. And he doesn't think the place is about to burn.
Mm-hmm.
He just thinks it's like, you know, maybe he stopped Aldo Rain, who was the one who was going to get closer to Hitler. He drops that there, and now he just is like, well, if it's only 2 explosives in there, this isn't even going to happen. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a little strange there, but I love that whole negotiation. And then, like I mentioned in lines, the shooting of the partner at the lines. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
It's so great. One last behind the scenes note about the final burning scene. Eli Roth and what is it?
Omar
Doom.
Yeah.
Omar Doom almost died.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that actually, like the fire stage actually stretched out too far and caught like a bunch of the real set on fire, and they had to be hospitalized for minor burns. And then they had like an investigator. What's a fire investigator called? Arsonist.
Yeah.
They had an
Is that? I think an arsonist is somebody who starts fires.
Whatever, an expert in fire. Charmander came in and was like, if they were there for 15 more seconds, they could have died.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's crazy.
Wow.
Just could have died on him. That would have been badass.
I said I think it'd be much more heated on a political level, considering the current administration and heightened unrest in the Middle East, but history books are the same, even if Tarantino likes to make movies that suggest alternate, in this case, more satisfying endings.
Yeah, that's very well said.
I mean, Hitler did die, but he did it himself, which is fucking annoying, if maybe.
Yeah.
And, but this is like, if this happened in real life, there'd be 150 movies about it.
Oh my God, we'd have a holiday once a week.
Yeah.
It'd be like shoot Hitler in the face day, and we'd teach kids how to like shoot piñatas and be like, yeah, that's how we did it.
Yeah, and it'd be Hitler's birthday, which is 420.
That's unfortunate.
Well, smoking on Hitler pack.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'd say all black cast, or it would be with Osama bin Laden.
Well, like we talked about, the 9/11 Tarantino movie
Yeah.
would rock. I know
I wanna
that
see,
movie
like,
critic is like his last one, but
Yeah.
if he did a 9/11 alternate ending, that'd be sick.
I want to see like a Black Hawk Down, but they're like, and then they get like, I want to see Zero Dark 30 rather, like the invasion of the whole compound.
Oh yeah.
Even though that is kind of the fictional movie ending, like we send in Navy SEALs into the hidden compound in the middle of night and just like grabbed him up and then threw him in the ocean.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, no, yeah, that happened.
It did happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, yeah, for sure.
It
Went down exactly like they said it did.
What do you think happened?
I don't know, but it feels weird.
Right, because it's so badass.
I guess, yeah.
They did lose a chopper in the process, and they killed some
And
kids.
a
and women.
robot dog too, I think, at one point. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It just feels weird that they were like, well, what do you mean you guys want to see a picture?
Whatever, it doesn't
They
matter.
shaved him, and now he's like a Nebraskan senator or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It would also be cool to see like a Tuskegee Airmen badass alternate universe World War II movie. I know we've had the Tuskegee Airmen movie before, but it's a little too like historically accurate. I'd like to see like a badass group of dudes from Harlem flying airplanes and killing Nazis.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
New category. Yeah, you know what? Got to go up, never go down. Add, not subtract, baby. Best performance is Christoph Waltz. Let's get to the next one.
No, yeah, that's what I put too, and I do think as the more we watch these, I feel like we made these categories like initially, and now as I'm getting better at talking and breaking down movies, I do want to start like reasoning why I could crown who I think is the best. So
Well, we'll start that in the next video.
Yeah, this one's pretty
Yeah,
obvious.
it's just Christoph Waltz. I mean,
yeah. If you had to give a runner-up that wasn't Brad Pitt, who do you give it to?
I'd probably give it to Melanie Laurent. I'd give it to.
Yeah.
I think she is fantastic. in
I
this.
really love Sylvester Grome, the guy who plays Goebbels. I think he's so fucking good at that.
Yeah, he's just not as. There's not a lot.
Yeah,
but
there's not a lot. I did want to shout out the scene where he's giving the back shots and he's squealing like a maniac. Why does he sound like that?
Why is he in that?
He
Why
goes,
do they?
Like he's just like his moan is like the most freak, and he's clapping that shit
For sure, but why is that in the movie?
because he says, "Oh, that's his interpreter," and then it just cuts to that scene, and then it's back.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I'm
Because
not-
there's not enough tits. It's a Tarantino movie, and they need more titties.
I guess that's true, but
He
it,
loves sex.
it is insane that it's
It
in
is
there.
insane.
Like it is makes it's. There's no reason for it.
And then the scene where the Fuhrer says, "This is your best work," and he's like, "Thank you, my Fuhrer," and he's
Oh,
like
yeah.
dabbing his eyes, and then Hitler's just kind of like, like laughing at all the death.
When any death happens, he's like, "Oh!"
It's so ridiculous.
He's like,
Yeah, Melanie's great. But I just wanted to shout out Goebbels there. No, I want to shout out Sylvester Grome. Sorry, sorry, that's fucked up.
I said, how the fuck do you recast this movie? Waltz has to be the same. And then I said, maybe just spin the Tarantino wheel and throw some regulars in there. Leonardo plays Aldo Rain. Margot Robbie plays Shoshana.
There we go.
Uma Thurman is Bridget Van Heimer's Mark.
Why not?
And I don't know. I thought Will Ferrell would be a good bear Jew.
Oh, I don't like how that even gets
I know.
outed.
Yeah.
Maybe a good Donnie.
Yeah, let me redo that.
Sure. Yeah.
Ah, fuck.
He is a good bear. He does.
I didn't mean it that way. Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell would play a good Donnie Donowitz. I don't know why, and I've never. Obviously, Will Ferrell's not been in a Tarantino movie that I can remember.
Nope. Not yet.
Not yet. And I think for some reason he'd be really good at that.
Sure.
Because he just gets to be like
Yeah.
bombastic and crazy, and then be
Yeah.
like fake Italian for a little bit.
Quali Jewish or not?
Margaret Qualley.
Yes. She could be Shoshana.
Sure. And Margot Robbie's not either, I don't think, but
Not yet.
well, she's Australian.
Oh yeah, they're definitely not Jewish.
But I don't know.
I really just wrote that I just want to see the Sandler version of this, and not Sandler version of the movie. I just want to
he
see.
plays every character.
I just want
like
to see
Jack and Jill.
I just want to see Sandler as Donnie Donowitz and how that works out. If it does work out, imagine him doing an Italian accent.
Oh yeah.
Just trying to imagine him playing it cool. Like I get it, Mike Myers like begged to be in this, and Tarantino gave him a little cameo.
Yeah.
But like Donnie Donowitz, like Eli Roth has a major role in this and really carries a lot of scenes.
Yeah.
If that was fucking Adam Sandler, I don't know what world we're living in.
But imagine him like Daddy fucking Williams
Fenway Park's on its fucking feet.
out of the park.
That would be cool.
Hey Nazi, shut up.
All right. Would you recommend this to a Jewish person? Ready?
Nope, it's soundtrack, idiot.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Dumb fuck.
My bad, baby.
I don't know how he turns every movie into a Western. I know this is a Western,
Right.
but it feels like no matter what the subject matter is, he kind
Yeah.
of makes it sort of a Western.
Yeah, he's got a good way at doing that.
The music really does that in this one. That's why I brought it up in soundtrack.
Yeah, I think there are good moments. Like I made the mention of the Ennio Morricone music that comes on when you meet Donnie and in another scene closer to the end. But I do like the music in other parts that aren't as reminiscent of the Western stuff, like the drama during the execution scene. The music that plays there is so ridiculous and like so bombastic and like evil and big. I really like that. And then the scariness or like the horrifying nature of the music when Shoshana meets Londa again. That music that plays is like, and you're like, ah, fuck. It just like makes you uncomfortable, which is what a great score can do. But no, it's great. I do like when the Western stuff comes in this one, it does make it feel, just because you're watching like the most exaggerated Americans of all time. Like this is like the picture book ending to World War II.
Yeah.
Which we already like, that's like how World War II is like tied up in the history books, is like the purveying of American values over like fascism and stuff. And you get like, the white picket fence nuclear family of the 50s and stuff. But this is like that to the absolute max. So I like when it's like, and it's like fucking Brad Pitt with like a rope scar walking up and being like, I don't care about no Nazis. My daddy was part Indian. And you're like, okay, Jesus Christ, here we go.
Yeah. It is the storybook ending, except I wish Shoshana didn't die.
Oh, you really liked her.
I just didn't. It also didn't have to happen.
I love that scene though.
I do love that scene. But yeah, I almost wish she died in the fire. But at the same time, like I said, it is cool that like
that's what she was gonna do anyway, though. She was gonna kill herself. That's
no, totally. Yeah. But she gets shot by that fucking loser.
Yeah, I do like. I like how it really exemplifies that he was actually a good soldier. Because you almost have a hard time believing that, as he's been like manicured into this movie star or whatever, and now he's being like toted around and going to fancy places. Like he gets shot, like she gets him, but he like makes a noise and is waiting to like get her when he rolls around, and that almost makes me believe like, oh, this dude was actually like a fucking killer.
It also kind of props up the whole shooter's gonna shoot. He shot his shot. He was known for shooting, and then he shot her. Yeah. Also, this has nothing to do with the soundtrack, but I remembered it in the scene where they're getting the bullet out of her leg.
Yeah.
There's all the dogs barking in the background, and at one point you just hear, you just hear a goat. And I thought that made me laugh out loud because it was just a lot of dog barking, and then you just randomly hear.
Another deleted scene. Aldo gets pissed that the vet doesn't know how to work on a person, and he says that he's like, I only work on doggies, he says it or whatever. And he gets pissed and shoots two of the dogs in one of the deleted scenes. And when that scene ends, two of the dogs in the crate are dead, but you never see like why. And it's like such a good move on the deletion. Like if Aldo Rain shot two dogs, you're not rooting for him at the end.
No, that makes it harder at least. Yeah.
Like this guy's a sick fuck. Like what the fuck? Great, you can't fix her. Because he says something like, shut them dogs up, and then just shoots them. And no good old boy from Tennessee would shoot a healthy dog. I feel like that would be out of character.
I don't know. I'd have to check the records.
Okay.
I'm sure that's happened.
Would you recommend this to a Jewish person?
Is that what this is?
Yeah, this is a new category. You can put the Star of David right here in the center.
Jesus, man.
It's all right.
I just said badass movie, come on. But I wrote that when it was said to recommend it to people who haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically to a Jewish person. I don't know if it would come up.
Okay. Dude, have you seen Inglourious Basterds?
Yeah,
you wish, right?
I think that would be a little crazy to be like out the gate. Like a Jewish person asks for a movie recommendation and I'm like, have you seen Inglourious Basterds? I think that would be fucked up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, I would recommend it to anybody, regardless of their religion or color or creed.
And happy Passover, by the way. It was yesterday. So shout out.
And happy Lent to all the Catholics. It's the middle of
Here
Lent,
we go.
So it's
so long fish, so long meat. Hello, fish.
Fish just on Fridays. Fish fries.
Fish is in.
Only on
Fish
Friday.
is out.
No
meat is in. During the week?
Or no meat on Fridays. That's why you have to eat fish, which is not meat somehow.
It's not.
I mean, it's not, but I don't know why.
They don't have pussies or cocks.
I don't know about that. But
What?
I'm just saying the animals, I don't know. I don't really get the whole thing. But it doesn't matter. Have fun with the fish fry. To all
Happy
the
holidays
Catholics.
to whichever. Break that matzah one more time for me. Yeah.
Does this come out on Easter Sunday?
No, Easter is the following week.
Cool.
Passover's the week before.
So wheat.
What'd you give it on letterboxd, baby?
I give it 4.5 stars and wrote, 'Tarantino, more like 'Tarantino, yes. 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 '
I gave it 5 stars and I said the power of cinema is stronger than nuclear bombs because we ended World War II with nuclear bombs, but in this universe, they ended it with a movie.
I actually also give it 5 stars. I changed it.
No,
Yeah.
I wanted to rank one higher than you because I don't think I've done that yet.
All right, 4.75.
Fuck you. They don't do that on Letterboxd, you twink.
All right, that's got to be 5 stars. Great. We're going to round up from 4.75 to 5. You still gave it higher than me.
I didn't mean to call you a twink either. I want to backtrack on that because I know that's not I didn't mean that in a pejorative way. It's okay to be a twink. If that's fine. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think you have to apologize to me. I'm offended.
Apologizing to the gay community.
Oh, totally. I'm not offended by being called a twink.
Good. Because I didn't mean it in an offensive way.
No, I get that. But I think it's more about making sure that's cool with everybody else.
It's definitely not.
No, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So just
So
straight
I'm
up
just
saying
trying to-
I was wrong.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I was wrong when I had an outburst at him and I called him a twink. That was fucked up. Because I didn't mean it in a pejorative way, but the tone I said it in definitely was taken that way by you, the twinks at home.
But yeah.
Inglourious Basterds. That was How Did It Age episode of Bastards. If you want to know what movie we're watching next, we post it the week before to our Patreon and YouTube members, the members of those memberships.
On the main channel, HIVEMIND. There are no
Yeah.
memberships on this channel. Go over to the main channel, HIVEMIND, and become a member for $5 a month. You'll get to know which movie we're watching. And if you're on the Patreon, please recommend movies to us when we post the How Did It Age one. Just comment it down there. Other than that, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope everybody is just taking care of themselves, checking on their friends, and isn't taking too hard of a hit on the stock market.
Yeah. Fight fascism at all turns.
Yeah, we still have to do that, by the way. It's
Yeah.
kind of back. So we gotta go stop that.
Love
And
you.
yeah,
I love you.
I love you too, man. Yeah.
Shoshana.
Don't assume what the twinks are thinking.
I'm getting deeper.
Yeah, I think so. I think you can't assume what they're thinking about you saying twink. So you gotta like make sure,
Okay.
say like, if you were offended,
right.
maybe don't be so sensitive. All right, no, sorry.
Bitch.
Wait a second. No, fuck. This is getting worse for
Yeah.
me now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to apologize for trying to build off of his joke,
Yes.
which was offensive to start, and his apology was not enough.
Wasn't good.
And neither was mine. The one I'm doing right now,
No.
not good enough.
And if you've enjoyed this video, sorry that it's coming to this kind of screeching derailment.
It feels, yeah, it feels bad. Yeah,
yeah.
chapter 5, not so good. Chapters 1 through 4, fantastic cinema.
Yeah, this is like chapter 6 of Inglourious Basterds, but Aldo Rain's just being homophobic once he gets home. And you're like,
Which you have to assume just based on his accent. He's from
Obviously, yeah.
Maynardsville. I mean, yeah, you
Yeah.
can't. Yeah, there's no way.
yeah.